Imagine waking up one morning and stepping outside only to discover that the sky, the vast blue dome that has always stretched endlessly above you, now exists as a thin, shimmering band hugging the surface of the Earth. Not kilometers thick, not miles deep, but only 10 meters. 10 vertical meters of breathable air wrapped tightly around the planet like a fragile film. Above that, a black, star-filled void, cold and airless, pressing down on a world suddenly exposed. The change is immediate and terrifying. The sky no longer fades softly into the horizon. Instead, it ends abruptly, like the ceiling of a room, too small for its occupants. Clouds cannot form, weather cannot develop, the gentle blue gradient of the atmosphere vanishes. Instead, people look up and see the stars of the cosmos, even at noon, shining through the thin shell of remaining air. Sunlight pierces straight through the nearly non-existent scattering layer, turning daylight harsh and blinding, as if the world were placed under a cosmic spotlight. Within minutes, nature begins to unravel. Birds, accustomed to soaring hundreds or thousands of meters high, attempt to take flight and slam into vacuum. The instant they leave the thin envelope of breathable air, their wings beat uselessly as pressure drops to zero. They fall back to the ground in panic or perish instantly. Airplanes become museum pieces overnight. Even a drone that rises too quickly is shredded by the raw vacuum just above. Wind ceases to exist in any meaningful way. With almost no vertical volume for air to circulate, breezes weaken to faint whispers, barely able to rustle leaves. Weather systems collapse completely. No storms, no rain, no clouds. The water cycle breaks as evaporation stops returning moisture to the sky. Rivers continue to flow for a time, but the world begins drying with relentless efficiency. Lakes shrink, soil cracks, and forests wilt under unfiltered sunlight that burns with intense UV radiation. Human life becomes a desperate scramble for engineering solutions. Buildings must now be sealed almost like submarines, topped with air retention shields that prevent the precious atmosphere from drifting away. A single open window on a skyscraper's 10th floor becomes instantly lethal. Beyond 10 meters, there is no air at all. People learn quickly that elevators are death traps, rooftops are forbidden, and mountains are utterly unreachable. Even small hills become dangerous. The highest habitable point on Earth is now the second story of a house. Heat behaves differently too. Normally, the atmosphere spreads warmth around the planet, moderating temperature. But with only 10 meters of air to work with, heat barely disperses. Sunlit areas scorch, shadows freeze. Step from sunlight into shade and your body feels like it's crossing between seasons, summer to winter in a single stride. The thin air cannot retain warmth after sunset. Nightfall becomes brutally cold, and dawn brings sharp, searing light. Sound, once capable of traveling kilometers through thick air, becomes eerily muted. Conversations fade quickly with distance. A shout can barely carry across a street. Cities grow strangely quiet, their usual noise trapped within a suffocatingly shallow layer. But the most horrifying effect emerges slowly: atmospheric loss. Even though Earth's gravity holds the air, the thin shell is vulnerable. Tiny disturbances, strong movements, explosions, rapid heating, can cause pockets of air to rise above the limit and vanish instantly into space. Breaches tear through the atmosphere like holes in a leaky container. Entire regions might find themselves starved of air after a massive wildfire or volcanic eruption launches gases past the 10-meter ceiling. Global communication collapses as radio signals behave differently in the altered atmospheric structure. Satellites, now directly exposed, suffer from extreme temperature shifts and constant micrometeoroid impacts without atmospheric protection. Electricity grids fail as transformers and equipment are exposed to radiation levels normally blocked by the upper atmosphere. Human survival turns into an engineering race against time. Massive atmospheric fences are constructed, towering barriers that try to keep air corralled within regions. Giant oxygen factories emerge, pumping breathable gas back into the thinning shell. Cities grow downward instead of upward. subterranean habitats carved into bedrock, insulated from the vacuum overhead. Plants struggle in this new environment. Without clouds, sunlight becomes too intense, scorching leaves. Without rain, agriculture collapses. Farmers grow crops in sealed domes while the outside world transforms into a dry, cracking wasteland. Oceans retreat slowly as their surfaces evaporate under direct exposure to space. The horizon darkens, not with storms, but with nothingness. Stars glimmer overhead in constant daylight, a reminder that Earth is now just barely shielded from the vacuum of the universe. Meteors, once burning up in fiery streaks, now slam into the ground intact. Even a pebble-sized meteor can hit with deadly force. And yet, humans endure. Fragile creatures living beneath an impossibly thin shell of borrowed air. They adapt, building transparent tunnels, pressurized cities, and machines that constantly replenish the atmosphere. Children grow up knowing that above their heads, only 10 meters away, is the infinite darkness of space. And every time someone looks up, they are reminded of just how thin the line is literally between life and the void.